enough, I think. It's enough, I think. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Green Live Stream. My name is Scott Free. I'm a co-host. Edie is taking the day off, but we have guest host Kalia J Fitzgerald. Welcome, Kalia.
Thank you, Scott. It's really nice to be here.
Yeah. And it's going to be another rough show. Unfortunately, another ICE murder this morning. So, I mean, it's rough. So we're going to be talking about it. We're going to show it. It's awful.
Yeah.
And you can close your eyes if you need to. But yeah, it's well, we wanted to start, and we're still going to start the show by talking about Anthony Aguilar, who has decided to run Green Party in North Carolina. So Kalia is from the North Carolina Green Party. So I'm so glad that you are guest hosting today. Perfect. So we can talk about that. And I've been working with Edie on some of the, possible candidates. So we kind of do, and I know Kalia, you do. So we're all like keeping this secret, which is like brutal. Like, oh, no. But yeah, it's great news. And yeah, I want to just hear. I mean, you don't have to talk too much internal North Carolina Green Party politics, but just how it was like for you to have this person who's a national name come in and work in with the North Carolina Green Party.
Well, actually, I heard about him, and I knew about him, but I didn't even realize that at first I was talking to him. And then it hit me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's him. And it was like the dots were just like ding, ding. It was so weird, and everything was going off in my head. I was like, oh my gosh. So it was like I'm not going to say a starstruck moment, but it was kind of like a bizarre moment where it's like reality really does hit you. This is someone who has been in the trenches, and they're not only talking the talk, they are literally walking the walk, and they literally put their life on the line. So it's just like, it's a moment. It does take a moment to get to that, and then to know that we actually live in the same town. So
wow.
Yeah, we actually live in the same town. So the district is District 13, and that encompasses where we live and a couple of other counties. So it is a big district, and this is actually a map test too, because they just redrew the maps. So this is a new map, and it's geared towards the Republicans. However, I believe that it's still a winnable district for him, because we've done the research, we've done the work on it. Nobody knows him.
Okay.
They really don't. They don't know the incumbent, and he's getting challenged, and so much is going on. And I know my area, they're pretty fed up right now.
Right.
So we're looking for something fresh. We're looking for something new. And the way that Anthony takes on everything, I have no doubt that he's going to make a huge splash impact in this race. And he's got the will to win. And that's what I want to see.
Right. I mean, I know we're going to play some clips. He announced it on Breaking Points. And for folks who don't know, so the background, and I might get some of the story wrong, but please correct me, Kalia. But so he's 25 years in the military, and he was assigned to go with that fake Zionist feeding program that they set up after they destroyed UNRWA. And so he was in that. And so he was next to, now I don't know if the person was part of our American team or if they were IDF, I'm not sure. But he was right next to another person, and there's that horrific line that the people are waiting, and this young boy comes up, and they hand him the food, and he shakes their hand and says thank you, and then he's walking away, and like 10 yards away, the guy next to him just pulls out the gun, shoots him in the head.
Yeah.
And Anthony was so horrified by what he saw there that he came back and was a whistleblower to see what was really going on, and it made huge news. And so he is well known for that. And like I said, we're going to play some of the clips from Breaking Points, and I think let's do that. Let's play a couple of these clips and hear him announce So yeah, you've got the timestamps, right? Hazel is helping us produce today. Thank you, Hazel. So yeah, we'll just run the first one. Yeah.
You know, after 25 years of serving in the United States Army and retiring, I was looking very much forward to a retired life, a quiet life. And then I went to Gaza, and the things that I saw and the things that I witnessed and what our government was complicit in forced me to take a hard look at what our government is doing, what our government is doing abroad and domestically. And as we've seen the course that we're on, tough questions need to be asked that aren't being answered. So since I returned from Gaza, from July until now, I was just in DC last week talking to members of Congress. And last week, by coincidence, with Doctors Against Genocide, we talked to Brad Knott, who is the incumbent and the current holder of this district. And in speaking to his staff was not aware of any of the House resolution legislation for block the bombs, allowing aid into Gaza, the reference to what's happening in Gaza as a genocide, any of the War Powers Acts votes, which we've seen go twice now in a dead tie broken by the vice president. Mm-hmm. If his staff isn't aware of those things, it's because he doesn't care about those things. But of all the members that we talked to, senators and representatives, both sides of the House, bipartisan, they have excuses for hard questions. And it's led me to believe that our traditional party system and those in power right now are compromised, and they do not have American interests in mind. So once again, I feel that I need to step up and answer the call and, dust off my boots, so to speak, and go back into serving the nation. I find it as a calling. I don't see it as as necessarily any type of political move in terms of me wanting to be a lifelong politician. This is not what I had on my bingo card going into the new year, but I'm doing it because I care about our country. I care about the trajectory that our country is on, and I care about all of you. I care about our fellow citizens. I care about my children and how they're going to grow up in this world.
Yeah, I think the one word that I really love that he used is that he said that they were compromised. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a military term, and that's it. That is exactly what our politicians are compromised. So I am so thrilled that he is joining us.
Yeah, I was watching something the other day, and it said that there were 145 trips to Israel by Congress last year. And that's how many were sponsored by AIPAC. And most of the trips, the top 5, were from Democrats. That was shocking. Yeah. It's like, and then the trips that were to other countries that were sponsored by a group didn't even make up half of that 145 that were sent to Israel. So this is a big thing. When he says compromise, it's really just like that. They are compromised. If they are taking AIPAC money, if they are taking anything remotely close to it, they are not there for this country at all.
Right. Absolutely. And it's interesting. I recommend everybody go watch this whole thing. I mean, we play a lot of it, but it's really interesting because there's tension there. And the tension comes when they announced him. They said, we'll talk more about this as an independent. Now, even, Crystal, she's got to throw in this thing of, well, if we had a Democratic president, blah, 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 blah. Now, Anthony's brand new. He's just getting in here, but I swear if Butch Ware was there, he would have been, you mean if there was a Green Party president, right? Right. But they got to cling to that Democratic Party. They break occasionally because they get really pissed at something, but come election time, this breaking point, they go back to the Democrats. So that's why there's tension here. But go ahead, Hazel. And so he gives a good explanation of why he's not running Democrat or Republican.
Anthony, I was going to ask, you referenced it there that, you feel frustrated with the two-party system. You feel let down by both parties, and you've decided to run as an independent. I'd love for you to just speak more about what led you to make that choice.
So a couple things in reflecting on my own political views and where I fell and kind of how I felt coming out of the military seemingly in a very apolitical type of mindset and then becoming very political, I would say, in my viewpoints and where I stood on certain issues. But if you look at the landscape of America right now, most millennials and Gen Z are identifying as independent. 40 to 50% of adults are identifying as independent. I'm a millennial, and I understand why we're identifying as independent. The problem is that there isn't really a good choice. This menu of two options between Republican or Democrat is a anemic menu with no fortitude and no character and no sustainment and nourishment to the American people. It's not a choice, it's a dilemma. The least bad of two bads. So looking into the parties to run with, I felt I cannot, under good conscience, morally and ethically, run with Democrats or Republicans. I cannot align myself to not only what they have been doing in action, but what their actions over the last decade have been. Same for the Republican Party. I mean, even worse. So I looked at this and I'm like, what is the history of American politics and why do we just hold so tightly onto this two-party system? And it wasn't until our 18th president, Grant, before we broke into this two-party system. And since then, we've had 19 Republicans and 11 Democrats, and where has it gotten us? We're at war with the world. We're in debt through our eyeballs. We're selling off our children's future. We're destroying the planet. We have people in America that can't afford health care or put food on the table. Before we had this two-party option, whether you could choose a Democrat or Republican, George Washington himself ran unaffiliated. Then we had the Federalist Party. Then we had the Democratic Republican Party. Then we had the National Republican Party. And then we had the Whig Party. And it wasn't until Andrew Jackson came along as the first Democratic runner. And when he ran against John Quincy Adams, they called him the same thing. Oh, you're going to spoil the race. And he won. He won because of the principles he stood on as a candidate, not the party. And then the Republican Party didn't come around until Abraham Lincoln. And then in Abraham Lincoln's second term, he didn't run as a Republican. He ran as a National Union Party. So this idea of this two-party system is a lie. It's a lie to keep America entrenched in corporatization and make Americans feel that your vote has to go one way or another, and if you don't, you're wasting your vote. I believe that's why we have seen a greater number of voters not turning out to vote, of voters feeling like they don't have an option, and voters feeling more and more that they identify as independent or a third party, but still voting for a Democrat or Republican because they feel they don't have a choice. I don't feel that in this race I'm a spoiler. I feel that I'm enriching it. Who in this race, who in the district, and many in Congress have the experience I have in foreign policy at the tip of the spear for the last quarter century, or have felt the repercussions of domestic policy back home after returning from combat? I have.
Yeah.
Well, talk to us about your domestic policy, Tony, because we've talked to you in the context of foreign policy, but what does your domestic policy agenda look like? How would you describe it?
Well, so first of all, right now, and I just
and Hazel, yeah, I think we got a break there. Yeah, I mean, I think he lays it out perfectly. Again, I love that he goes to history and he talks about how it's fake. This two-party system is not what America was meant to have. And yeah, go ahead, Kalia.
You can just tell, like, the look on their faces is like, oh, they just want to punch the air right now. And it's just like, to me, what I'm looking at is a lesson that can be studied in school for years to come. With this win, with this happening, it can be like, this can really be a breaking point. And they are just like, they are holding the line.
Yep.
They're holding the line.
Exactly. Oh my God, Kalia, that's perfect. Right. You guys are the breaking points, right? What's happening here? And so, yeah, I put up the Kimiko 1968. And so Ryan Grimm, I can't point, but he's the guy on the bottom next to Anthony. And yeah, he's just a jerk. The guy's the worst. He wrote this book praising AOC. I mean, he's like the worst of the worst, right? And so, yeah, there's tons of tension there. And let's see, I'm just going to put up a couple of posts here. This is, oh, all right. There we go.
All right, I'll talk to him.
All right. Yes, absolutely. GP National Latinx Caucus. And,
We already talked to him about that, actually. We did talk to him about it.
well, another thing I want to bring up is, again, it's interesting. Maybe I don't know if this has been discussed. I think it's a strategy, but I noticed, and I think for right now, it's a smart strategy. I don't think it's like selling out, but they introduced him as running independent. He said independent. Crystal said independent. And at the very end, they just, this was running as an independent. So they never mentioned the Green Party. And I noticed when Greg announced that he didn't mention the Green Party. And I have a feeling, this is just my theory, is what they're doing is getting in and getting people used to them. If they make Green Party the point, then that becomes the distraction, because the Green Party has a reputation of blah, 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 I mean, we're constantly fighting that, but that's a battle. And I think it's kind of smart for them to not take that battle right now. And
the other point is, at this point in time, he's not on a ballot anywhere. So that is another thing. We have a nomination convention coming up. So he has to pass that nomination convention in order to get on the ballot. So
right. Yes. All of our candidates are recognized. They are not endorsed yet. So yes, right.
He has been endorsed by by us, but we have not turned in our slate of candidates to the Board of Elections yet, because they have decided that we are a new party for this election. Right. So instead of having the ballot go as it was with the primaries and everything, we have to have a convention to nominate our candidates for the ballot. So we'll be doing that in the next 2 weeks, February 7th, I believe.
Okay, right. And it's interesting because I just Googled Anthony Aguilar for Congress. And I'm sorry I used Google, folks. I'm working on that stuff. In the description, it says right there, is running with the North Carolina Green Party in the description. But you click on it, it doesn't say it on the website itself. But I thought that was interesting. But
so good strategy.
Yeah, no, I think I take the right approach. I do. And so let's go ahead, and he gets into more of the issues around ICE and IDF, and I think it's really interesting what he has to say. So let's go to the next clip, Hazel.
You're suggesting,
first of all, as a candidate in Congress, that one of the first things I would get to work on is drafting a resolution to bring to my constituents and caucus on disbanding the BIRD program under the Department of Homeland Security. And that's the Binational Industrial Research and Development Program. That is the program that attaches ICE to training with foreign entities such as the Israeli National or Ministry of National Security. Bingo. I would sever that program. That program is nothing more than a program to put Israel in the forefront of our domestic agencies. It serves no purpose. They are not trained well. We've seen the result of the training. Now, when someone says abolish ICE or abolish the Border Patrol or abolish the police,
you know what, let's skip
under the current leadership and the current personalities that run
Hazel, because they get into this deep into the woods, and it gets a little convoluted. He does not abolish ICE, but what he meant is the function. And then, it's kind of the same thing, going back to the original group that handled it. But I want also to play this last clip, because this is another doozy. And again, I had never heard of the organization BIRD or the group BIRD before. I didn't know that it kind of, I've seen leftists online saying, the IDF and the police, they work together. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe. Well, duh, now I get it. So there actually is a government program set up to do it.
Exactly.
And so his last comment here is absolutely fantastic on this whole issue. And it really starts to play into why you see these psychos out on the street, ICE just killing people randomly. And so go ahead and play the last clip, Hazel.
To the point of who they're recruiting.
Yeah.
True story. Many of those infidels motorcycle club bikers that served in the GHF because that was the hottest thing going, Guess where they're working now? ICE.
You know that for a fact?
I know that for a fact. Not only have I seen them on videos, I have identified them, and I have seen some of them that have celebrated it. Some of the same individuals that were in
Makes
Gaza,
sense.
shooting people in the face with tear gas, shooting at people with machine guns, billy clubbing people and spraying them with the entire can of mace in the face.
Yeah.
Palestinians, unarmed Palestinians,
Wow.
are now working in the field as ICE agents. That's a fact.
We should also note that we spoke with the Chapin Face spokesperson for the GHF and refer people to that interview to hear
that's
their
okay,
perspective on.
Yeah, we can link.
I think that, that says it all right there. So he even knows these folks because he was with them. And thank you, Edie, for Gaza Humanitarian Fund. So that was that fake ass agency that was set up to pretend to give food. And so that's the group that Anthony was with. And so, yeah, he sees them. And it makes so much sense now. I mean, these people are unreal with their brutality. It's crazy how brutal they are. And that's the thing. Their brutality is the point. That's what they want to do. That's what they're there for. And he talked about how much we didn't cover. I skipped that part. He talks about how much to get paid, like $2,000 a day for this shit.
Awful.
And they are going, and we're going to cover this a little later, how the Democrats also voted to expand the ICE budget. Expand the ICE budget, folks. Their plans right now, the terrorizing that's going on is 400 ICE agents. They're going to go to 10,000.
Yeah.
So that means every city in this country is going to be terrorized like what is happening now. So
yeah, they're currently booking hotels in Raleigh last time I heard. So, and we have the monks in Raleigh right now. So it's like, what's going on here? Everybody's on alert right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, things are going to get really bad. And I wanted to just quickly, I just want to bring this up. I just highly recommend this film. I know it seems like it's off topic, but it is military. And so Abby Martin has a film out. I highly recommend you try to go find it. It's called Earth's Greatest Enemy. Abby came into Chicago at DePaul University for a Q&A after, and I met her and talked to her a little bit. And it's just an absolutely must-see film, folks. I mean, it really points out the damage our military is doing across the globe, environmentally and in other ways, obvious, in the killing ways. But yeah, I wanted to get that in. But yeah, so let's show this killing. So Hazel, there's two, either Reddit or X, but this is what happened this morning in front of a glam donut shop in Minneapolis. And yeah, it's really horrific. I mean, do you have it there, Hazel? Let's see if there's any other comments.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Edie's. We were going to cover that, but we forgot. They were walking for peace. Monks walking from Texas to D.C. Oh, that's right. It was our intention to cover that in the show.
And it's so great to see them. I've watched them on live and in Siler City, and now they're heading to Raleigh. So it's really great to watch.
All right, here it is, folks. And again, this is not pleasant at all.
They ain't doing too much, man, and they keep pushing people, you know.
Holy shit! What the fuck? They killed him? Did they fucking kill that guy? Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
He's like,
Not again! Are you fucking kidding me? That guy's dead.
yeah. All right, Hazel.
Yo, we need people.
Yeah, I mean, they got five guys the one guy's obviously punching him in the face, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the head. And I'm not sure which one shot, but they just decided to shoot him as he was laying there.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, what was the threat?
Right.
where was the threat? And then they're going to say, oh, he had something on him. Y'all had plenty of time to pin something on him. So I don't even want to hear that.
There were 5 guys and he's laying on the ground. Come on.
Right.
I mean,
if he wanted to pull something, he would have pulled it before I even touched him. So that's not even, you can't even say that. There's just too much.
But of course, that's where I turned to CNN, and that's, of course, the angle they were trying to push. DHS announced he was armed. Yeah, right, folks. Yeah.
No.
I mean,
there's no armed person that's going to go down with you like that. They're going to do something beforehand all the time. I'm sorry, that's not going to work. Or knowing the climate, they're going to say, look, I'm armed because they don't want to get anything. But it's going to be another Philando Castile moment at that point in time because they still might get shot. So, people are fearing for their lives. They're not looking to get into it with anybody. So when that happens, it is all the responsibility of the officers, every single last one of them involved. Because either you're not trained well enough, which we could obviously see because it does not take 5 people to take one person down, or you just don't have a care for human life. And we can also see that as well. So
right. That's what it is. They want to be doing this. They're getting paid highly to do this. And this is, thank you, Jacob, is so disgusting. DHS is lying about it already. Of course, they're going to just, that's what they do. But it's a horrific situation and it's only going to get worse. And Nazidi, it's an right. It's an invasion. Right. ICE are traitors. Absolutely. Yeah, it is an invasion. And, I've brought it up on this show. Edie doesn't too thrilled when I talk about it. But again, it just keeps coming to this. How, first of all, our state should be protecting us, and they're not. Our state police should be there to protect us. If somebody is being actively, if it was out in the street and somebody was murdering somebody else, the police would be there shooting too. Right. And so they're not doing it because these guys wear brown. And right. And maybe they got a badge on them, but that's not a reason to do this. And the other thing is that, I keep saying that how is this, the governor said, oh, Trump, you got to pull these people. Come on.
Yeah, whatever.
Again, this is not an opinion of the Illinois Green Party or the Green Party as a whole, because I understand that I'm in the Green Party as an organizing tool. And I do believe that there is a quiet revolution in getting a completely non-corporatized candidate into office to take this on. So I'm fully supportive of this. But I also I'm going to express my opinions, which is that the state needs to show that it's got some power. It needs to at least threaten to declare independence. That's what happened in Ukraine, right? The Donbass, they declared independence because our neo-Nazi government took over and they knew they were in trouble. Well, folks, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Our citizens are being murdered and we have to show some force. And we have to say, in my opinion, not Green Party opinion, in my opinion, that we have to say we're out or we have to threaten it, at least threaten it and say, you have no right to come to our state. And that's the other thing that gets me, oh God, these right wingers, don't tread on me with the snake, and they were all, and the whole concept was, we got to protect ourselves with our guns against when the government comes for us. Well, folks, the government is coming for some of us, but it's the ones you don't like. So now you don't care.
Well, I see it as a two-pronged thing. To the first part that you said, the governor should totally declare a state of emergency anytime ICE touches down, because there is an emergency in the state. There are citizens that are getting arrested. There are a lot of people that are being detained without rights. So it automatically is a state of emergency, in my opinion. So that enforces the National Guard to be in place, and that can quell a lot of that. So if you want to come, you're going to have to come with warrants, and the National Guard is going to have to be an escort, and people will know who is who and what is going on if this has to happen, because it literally does not have to happen right now. And then the other side of that is that, yeah, they are coming for a lot of people, and it is for everybody. It doesn't matter if they're specifically going for certain groups. Everybody is involved at this point in time. So that means they are going after everybody. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter where you're from, because they will take you, and that is all that matters. Or you could be an innocent bystander and get messed up in all the types of protesting that is going on. Even if you're a quiet protester or just standing on the side of the streets, you could get involved. So everybody is involved at this point in time, and we all need to take this as seriously as possible, because waiting until it hits you personally is not the best way to approach it.
No, and it'll be too late because they love to shoot. So, and I, Hazel. No, I was trying to talk to Hazel. As you know, Kalia,
Yes, I know.
I have issues with names. Ooh, my brain doesn't function with names. If somebody, I swear to God, if somebody says, "Hi, my name is," my brain will shut off right then, and then it'll come back on, and I'll be like, "What was their name?"
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, Hazel, go ahead and play the second one, because it kind of talks also, it speaks to, I think you're right. I mean, everyone's in danger, but sure enough, they're going to pick out the ones. So they go after an African-American off-duty police officer. And so that is, Sheriff Ice took one of our correction recruits. And again, this is just, if they're going to grab somebody first, it's going to be a person of color. Mm-hmm. Yes, there might be situations where white people get, in the wrong place at the wrong time, but without a doubt, ethnic cleansing is their goal, folks. That is their goal. They want a white America.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this one went in closer, but he was trying to give them his ID. He was on his way to his job. He's a police officer on his way to his job, and they grabbed him.
Yeah, I saw the lady put her foot on him. I'm like, is that necessary? He's not even moving. He's talking loud because he probably wants people to hear what he's saying.
Right.
But he's not moving. So why are you putting your foot on him? Like, that's disrespectful. Yeah. And that's my first time seeing one of these women in the videos, but I just like, what? That's just so disrespectful. And because that leads to on the ground, and then it leads to other moments, and it's just messed up, because there are plenty of people that think, oh, they're not coming for us, but they are, because they don't know just because you're brown skinned that you are in this country. So to my black and brown folks, if you are for ICE right now because you believe people are taking your jobs and you want them out of this country, please take this as a prime example of the fact that they do not care about you, your skin color, or anything else. They will take you because they can.
Right.
So don't think that this is just an immigration issue. It's not. This is a white supremacy on display issue, and you have to understand that.
Right. And they know they have immunity. That's the thing. They know they're not going to get prosecuted for any of this. That's why this is heaven for them, folks. Mm-hmm. They are loving what they are doing.
This is like federalized KKK.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it is.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, people have been using the term slave catcher, and I'm hesitant to use it. But it's obviously the analogy is there that it's just they're going after, non-whites. That's the reality. They ethnic cleansing is the point.
Yeah. I was this TikToker TikToker that I watched, he's Serbian, and he got hassled by some immigration people, but he's a naturalized citizen now. So nothing happened to him, and he just felt sorry for all the other people who have gone through this and have had to deal with issues such as ICE detention and stuff like that. And he's a really great guy, and he talks about his journey. And to me, to even know that that happened to him, it lets you know it can happen to you too. Because if you talk funny, then you don't talk American. I don't know what American speech is.
Right.
If you talk American, it could happen to you too.
Right. Yeah. And so with the planned strike on Friday, which from what I could see was a real success. I mean, the folks were out. It was 30 below out there, and they were out in the streets. And so I really have to give props to Minneapolis. They really organized well, and they had a massive, massive protest and general strike. Now, again, as Edie and I had talked on the show, I believe, and who knows, now they murdered somebody else today. So maybe they're going to get, what we were saying is that this has to be like a strike, as in you don't go back until.
Right.
Not just, and even it was recommended to do this every Friday. No, folks, you got to do it constantly. That's not how strikes work. You don't strike once a week. You strike. So
right. Think about it like Starbucks. We don't go back. Target. We don't go back. Think about it like that.
Right. And so just another photo, just to see the numbers of people out in the streets. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So
yeah, we had one here in Raleigh. Michael Dublin actually got a chance to speak at that one. So it was really, really good. He'll have his video coming out soon. But we're out there, folks. Green Party is out there with the people and holding the line with the people. So, don't say we're sitting at home. We're out here.
Absolutely. And I think, we've talked quite a bit about, the Green Party and its purpose and focus. And even in the Illinois Green Party, Edie and I, like over a year ago, was planning a general strike for Palestine. And we got a comment in the Illinois Green Party. Oh, so now we're activists? Yeah. And if we weren't before, we are going to be now. Mm-hmm. Because again, I to me, the Green Party is an organizing tool, and the great thing about it is it will be involved in all subjects, healthcare, childcare, all the subjects will be covered. But we're not going to just sit around and only do the electing of officers, even though that takes a ton of work. No, we have to be out in the streets. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's go ahead. I'll take this off. And Hazel, if you could just run the massive general strike on YouTube. It's just some video to see a little more of what's been going on. But they shut down the airport. They were, not shut down the airport, but they were at the airport protesting. There were a number of priests that were praying. They had a long line. They were in prayer. And those are the folks they arrested. Again, our state police are not, or that was city. I'm not sure if it was city or state police. They're not on our side, folks. They should be on our side. Oh, okay. Oh, this was okay. Yeah, this video is fine.
A massive economic strike in Minnesota has begun, the largest economic strike in recent memory. No work, no school, no shopping. That is what the economic strike is called, and it's in protest of what ICE is doing on the streets of Minnesota. And here's the thing, this one could actually work because dozens of businesses have announced that they will be closing down their doors today. They will continue to pay their employees who were supposed to work today, but they're going to close down their doors in participation of this economic strike. There's going to be a massive rally, a massive march in Minneapolis later this afternoon. The labor unions across Minnesota have endorsed the strike as well. There's been a lot of talk about, well, how do you protest? What do you do next if you don't agree with something? And a lot of people were like, well, let's do a general strike. This is the first step, and it's happening right now today in Minnesota. It's highly organized. Kids aren't going to school. Businesses aren't opening, and parents aren't shopping. I'll continue to provide you updates. Spread the word. Follow for more. We have some big news right now.
Yeah. And, I don't know all the details, but he did say unions endorsed, and that's really good. But, the concept of the union is you pay your dues so that there is a fund so that you can actually go on and strike. So I know that some unions were actually not going to work on that one day, but they got to do more than just endorse. They have to actually be involved, do the strike, and have funds there to help the folks who are on strike. So, and we'll see. Like I said, they just murdered somebody this morning. So we'll see what happens with the general strike.
Be a different type of weekend. So I'm keeping a close eye on them and just going to be keeping my thoughts with them throughout this weekend because they've been through a lot right about now.
They have really have. Oh, Hazel, why don't you go ahead and show the airport workers? So that's that. That's where they congregated, and some of the workers did a sit-in. I'm not sure which airport workers they were, but we can show that, and it's just, yeah, you just can't. You didn't think that America would be like this, but this is our future, and so yeah, we have to act.
Together at the airport to say no to ICE as part of the January 23rd day of action. So we're right now in a picket. There's a picket going on of workers who are leaving the airport. There's going to be a walkout shortly with even more workers coming to join, followed by a march. So right now on the ground in Minneapolis, this is a great representation of the kind of day we're about to have. This is just the beginning. It's 10 a.m. Central Time. So this is one of the first activities of the day. There are going to be actions all across the city, Minneapolis and St. Paul, all day long. So this is really just the very beginning. So we are going to join them. We're going to try to stay as warm as we possibly can. As you can see, my face is a little covered by all the stuff we've got going on here. But this is the power of the day. People in negative 16-degree weather say that it's important to join and say that ICE has to leave Minnesota. That is what they're chanting, ICE out. We're going to speak with workers and other people coming from the airport. Particularly, many of the workers have said over and over again that they have serious concerns about ICE having deportation flights increasing.
Yeah.
The airport, this airport, the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport. And workers are also concerned about the possibility and the rumors of ICE raids happening on workers and on passenger areas as well. So that is something that we want to learn a little bit more about and get some on-the-ground information about, because it's unclear.
Thanks, Hazel. Yeah.
What the ICE activities are.
That was great. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was a real successful day for Minneapolis. Unfortunately, ICE came back, even worse the next morning. So.
And then it's really cold, and I saw her like trying to lift her stuff up. I'm like, this is just. And then I saw the mustache man back there. And I was just like, okay, so this is really taking you back to that time and that cold place in the literal sense, because it is very cold, and you're talking about getting ice out. It's just like the artistry behind what's going on. It's not even meant to be that way, but that is exactly what's going on. It's so cold where they are, and they're talking about getting ice out. It's just like, how can I say this? It's just
the irony.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, wow.
I saw a meme about, I don't know if it's true, but somehow newscasters were saying, now we have to be careful because there's a massive ice storm coming. And they said, yeah, the ice, you got to watch out. Don't use the word ice. It's like, wait a second. How are you supposed to talk about an ice storm?
Right.
Not say ice.
Because that's what we're going through in North Carolina right now.
Well,
like,
right. You guys are right in it's the way the forecasts have gotten really, pretty accurate as of late. So it's looking bad for two parts of America for ice, because that's the most dangerous. The snow is fine, but the ice can just wipe out powers, and I can't even imagine power going out in this weather. It's like 10 below in Chicago. So power going out would be a disaster. Now we're not in the range, but it's going to be a brutal day of ice for more than one reason.
Yeah, I saw that one day it's going to get 5, and I know 10 below versus 5 is a whole big difference, but I'm like, we don't see 5-degree weather a lot around these parts, so that's different for us.
Now, I wanted to just speak a little bit to the issue of what is happening with technology and how that's going to make things worse for us. And let me see if I've got some of the photos here. I may just have to randomly. So I know these are not specifically related, but they all kind of have to do. This is going to be a weird segue, but it's really important to understand what our government is doing in terms of technology and how they are going to use it against us. So the background of this is that Thomas Massie tried to have an amendment to a bill that would reject their move to have all new cars be installed with a government chip that will turn the car off. And it failed. And if you see 211 Democrats voted against this, so they are going to mandate that cars be installed with chips that can be turned off at will. So this is the kind of future that we face, folks.
So you have China talking about, going forward with, flying cars. Literally, they're doing things with it, and we're over here talking about installing chips for no reason.
Right. But the reason is going to be if you oppose the government, that's going to be the reason. Now, this one I'm going to add, again, not related, but related in technology. So Scott Ritter is he's ex-military, and he takes a pro-Russian side of conflicts in the recent memory. And so sure enough, they have taken all his money out of his bank account. So if I can read this, he said that he had been debanked by Citizens Bank. They terminated the relation with him and zeroed out his accounts. And he's hoping he can get his money back. So, folks, that's what our government is doing. And Scott Ritter, it's because of his Russia stance that they have taken away his money. So get ready, folks. Everybody who wants digital currency, get ready. Because these are the kind of things that they're going to do to us.
Yeah, so with the chips, it's to me, it just seems like over, and I'm going to say it, kill, because we don't need those types of things.
Right.
We already have things in the car, the lock system that can do it. The government doesn't need to control that. It's my personal vehicle. That's no different than you having a key to my house at this point in time. Right. And that's not necessary. And then banking access, leave banks, go to credit unions. That's the only way to solve this issue. So, I mean, if we have a mass exodus of banks, go into credit unions. If we don't buy new cars for one whole year, people will definitely see, but the power is in the purse. Congress controls the purse, but guess who controls Congress? We do. So we actually control Congress by getting the elected officials that we need, such as Anthony and all these other people that we have been talking about, and doing what we need to do out here as people.
Right.
We can change it, but it can start with us by doing these strikes, and it can start with us by not buying that car. Or not buying not buying new cell phones. Oh my gosh, please stop buying new cell phones if you haven't.
Oh my God. Right. I mean, right. Every technology. Here's what about that. So the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, says Americans who criticize Jews in Israel will be monitored by the FBI. We will monitor social media and check your bank accounts. I have 40 analysts working 24/7, 7 days a week. This is hostile occupation, and that's exactly what this is, folks.
If you're going to check my bank account, put some money in it at least. I have bills to pay. Don't play with me. All right.
Yeah. No, they were just covering in the local news about how difficult the people are having with the electricity bills, how they've tripled in cost. And again, it's the corporate takeovers of these, instead of, government supplied electricity, it's these corporate takeovers and ending with tripling your bills. It's just a horrible situation. And again, my own personal take is things that are necessary to stay alive, we should have available to us. It should be government funded, government assisted, however the system works, but essential for survival, folks. We should have these things. Our money should not be going towards the military and the 1,000 bases that are around the world for no reason, absolutely no reason, except to terrorize other countries. And we've got them all surrounding China. And, this is just to try to, we're jealous that China's, Communist Party is doing way better than us in terms of quality of life for humans.
It makes no sense for us to have bases everywhere. Nobody has a base here. I mean, I don't want a base here, and I don't want our bases anywhere else, to be honest with you.
Right. I think China has 1, and Russia might have 7 or something. We got 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, what a mess.
It's definitely a mess, and I have a son in the military right now, and I think about all the things that are going to be happening and what's going on, and it's very scary. I have lots of people that I know that are in the military, but I look at them and I look at the things that are going on, and I say to myself, we have to turn something around right here at home so that they can be okay, because they are supposed to be supporting us here and not going other places and being a bully.
Right.
And that's what America has essentially set up our military to be, is the global police, the bullies of the world. And we need to rein that back in. We need to allow countries to be self-sustaining. All these tariff diffs and things like that, we need to stop those things, because that is essentially bullying countries. I'm just amazed at how long we keep allowing this tyrant to do these tariff things, and nobody in Congress is like, okay, can we pass a bill that says stop him from doing tariff hikes? Like, come on now. It's enough already.
Right. As Edie says, empires always overreach before they crumble. That is true. And yeah, I mean, the overreach is unbelievable. And again, I'm going to recommend that film, folks, because, and you know, you talked about children, and Abby Martin made the decision to really include her family in the film, and it's really interesting. And I kind of, you know, I was going to ask her that question, but I didn't. But it really makes sense. She has two young children, and it makes sense because it's a film about the destruction of the environment, and that's the issue with children, is that they are going to be, when they're adults, it's hard to imagine the nightmares they're going to be dealing with. Now, we'll see what happens today, because they are predicting these ice storms could really, really be damaging, because they say if you have I didn't know this stuff, if you have a half inch of ice, that puts like thousands of pounds onto the power lines. And so you have massive power outages. That's with a half inch. Some areas are expecting 1 inch, 1 inch of ice.
You see, in my neighborhood, we have grounded power lines, so none of them are up in the air, but we are still connected to the other ones. So
okay.
It goes down. It goes down.
Okay.
I approve of the grounded power lines because it makes it a little bit better, but I am interested to see how they're going to be insulated against this ice storm. So that's going to be interesting, because I haven't seen that before. But I definitely do believe that we have the right responsibility to let our children know that they are inheriting stewardship of this land, and we have to show them what we're doing so that they can carry it on. Because I don't want my grandchildren to be like, Gigi, why didn't you do this? And Gigi, why didn't you do that? Because no, I'm going to tell them, look, I was here, baby. I was doing everything I could to make it right. Talk to the other folks about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do feel we're at a tipping point, and we're going to discuss a little revolution towards the end of the show here, because I think we need to talk about these things. I think it's really important, because, we certainly can't sustain what's happening, and all signs point to things getting worse. That's the thing. All signs point to things getting worse. And, you know, again, the problem is we're stuck in this duopoly that the Green Party is trying to destroy. And, you know, the Democrats, they are always there to make sure it keeps going. They complain in public. They say wonderful things. They, you know, get really angry. But I think it's an important detail to note that if all Democrats voted no today on the ICE funding, the bill would have failed 213 to 212. Even when we can score small wins, that wouldn't be a small win. We don't. Centrism is paving the way to fascism. They are collaborators. And that's the thing, folks. The Democrats are always going to be there just to make sure that things keep going the way they keep going.
I think we need to put that, you know, into the CCCs, collaborators, complicit, compromise.
There you go.
That's what they are.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And thank you, Anthony, for that use of that term, because compromise is perfect.
Right.
Yep. Oh,
they definitely are.
Yeah. And so I wanted to, we're going to skip some things here. So I wanted to start with this one. This one was a little different. And it's the Arizona Stand Your Ground law, because, you know, like I had pointed to in you know, in the right-wing world, how they're stand your ground law and they're going to defend themselves. Well, I mean, it's in Arizona. So This is an article. If you want to put this up, Hazel.
Okay. When I hear "stand your ground," I automatically think of Trayvon Martin, and it just makes me sad.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. This is, it's a difficult topic, but Arizona AG suggests residents may gun down. This is a clickbait title here. Gun down masked ICE agent if they felt threatened under state law. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mize state that the stand your ground law, which allows citizens to use deadly force if they believe they're in imminent danger, could become a recipe for disaster. So again, she wasn't like trying to, they spun it not the right way. They're just saying it exists. It's a thing because people have felt, again, that whole thing of defending yourself. Well, now we have to defend ourselves against ICE because they are absolutely terrorizing us.
That picture's funny because it's like she's saying da-da, or she's saying, double barrel. It's
right.
So it's just like funny. I was like, oh my gosh.
I know. It's a weird presentation of the issue, but the issue is there. And again, it speaks to how are we gonna deal with this? Trump's not gonna stop this. He's here for 3 more years. And I understand there's that argument of, oh God, if we incite this, he's gonna call insurrection act and cancel the elections. Well, we can't just lay down and get shot. That we can't do that. So, and thanks for sharing that, Hazel. And then I want to, I think, let's just go right into the little. There's a Chinese guy that I follow on Facebook. I like a lot. His humor is like pretty biting, and it's the one that says you guys are pre-homeless.
Oh yeah.
I know. Yeah. It's so true. I'm a nice place, but I know what that means. Pre-homeless. I think about that all the time. Okay.
All your pre-homeless people can do it, but nothing changed. You guys are still pre-homeless. What China did is revolution. Through our 5,000 years of history, China had so many times revolution. The last time revolution was led by Chairman Mao, built this Communist Party of China. And the Communist Party of China got 95% of our Chinese support. You know why? Because we can see the reality. Our government have done a wonderful job. That is something your government have never done. But all you can do is criticize. You don't dare to do a revolution.
He's brutal.
Yeah, you guys have so much freedom. Criticize government is so damn easy. Everybody can do it. All your pre-homeless people can do it. But nothing changed. You guys are still.
Okay, yeah, it just repeats, but
that hurt right here.
Brutal. In China, we talked about it before. There's the viral thing about the kill list in America, and the kill line,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a video game reference where you're shooting back, and your line goes down to a certain level, and you go under it, and you're done. And they kind of say, yeah, that's how Americans live, and it's a reality. That's how we live. We are on a kill line. All of us are pre-homeless, folks. We are all pre-homeless. And he's brutal, but he does make the point. And that's the other thing that's so, our propaganda systems, the way they deal with people liking their government is for them to say, oh, they're scared. They have to say that. They have to do that. Like in North Korea or in China, right? It turns out that people like their government, and that's so hard for Americans to understand.
Yes, especially in North Korea. They're like, no, they can't like their government. Do you actually know the history of North Korea? Do you know anything about it? I've seen their president cry for the women who were done unjustly by Japan and other places. When you see a leader cry, for their citizens, it's just like, okay, maybe there's something I need to know because everybody told me he was a tyrant, sir, but that's not how it worked out. And being pre-homeless, we are all paycheck away. So definitely pre-homeless. Yep. I get it. And then what I look at is January 6th, they did all of that. Nothing really changed. But they knew that people were going to have their back in the end, because what did Trump come around to do? Pardon most of them.
Right.
So if their Democrats came, I'm going to use Democrats because we're going to leave Green Party out of this picture. If the Democrats tried to do something to the sort, would their leaders have their back when that happened and turned around?
Good point.
And I believe the answer is no.
Nope. Good point. Absolutely. That's a great point, Kalia. I had never thought of that. No, Democrats would not have their back.
And that's why they won't do it. I'm just saying that is why the revolution from this side of the aisle will not happen, because they know they're not going to have our backs. We're not getting a pardon. They're going to say, oh, no, we're going to let them do it. And then it's going to be like a Joe Biden issue. He'll pardon his family, but he's not going to pardon anybody else. And they will do the same thing. So Democrats don't have your back.
No.
Please believe it. Republicans, they'll have each other's back because they want something from each other. And we know what that is. So when we're talking about this duopoly, please don't get it misconstrued that we are going against the Democrats. Democrats and Republicans are awful all the way. And the Republicans just show their face more. That's all.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's an excellent point. Excellent point, Kalia, because right. They would not support us. And, look what they did. And in fact, talk about not supporting. So the most revolutionary kind of, movement was the Black Panthers, right? And it was the Democratic mayor of Chicago, Daley, who ordered his police to go assassinate Fred Hampton. So no, they will definitely not have, those Democrats will not have our back. In fact, they'll kill us.
Exactly.
Yep.
If it's a Democrat if it's a Democrat mayor or governor, please do not expect your Black self to be safe. Just saying.
Right. And they're certainly not standing up for us now. The states are not representing us. They're not. They're not doing it. They're not strong enough. And like you said, state of emergency, absolutely. That would be a way to show some kind of strength. Mine was a little stronger, secede, right? But it's still, that's the point. Instead of just these words, it's theater. And that's because that's all Democrats have been. And that's the other thing. I mean, you make a good point. The Republicans are getting what they want, so they're good. But the Democrats have to give us theater. Because they have to pretend to be the good guys, but they're not really. So they got to go through that theater. And I mean, the theater can get to the levels of absurd. So AOC votes to protect the genociders with the Iron Dome vote. And she's supposed to logically say how that is supposed to help. And she's being a progressive while she's letting, a protection for genociders. I mean, it's just, that's the kind of theater that goes on with the Democratic Party, folks.
When I hear progressive Democrat, what I hear is I'm going to progress into a Republican. Because there's no such thing as a progressive Democrat. If you have ideals that are like Green Party or other independent parties, you're not going to progress into them. You are going to move away from them the more you stay with the Democrat Party. So you're a progressive Republican. Just say it. Stop lying to the folks.
And what I wrote this on online this week is that I'd say it is true. When I hear the words Democratic Party, my brain will immediately go to them pulling the Palestinian children out of the rubble. I mean, that visualization will be stuck with me forever. And that was the Democratic Party. They did it for 15 months. And so that will never be erased. And I hope people understand when they hear those two words, they started the genocide, folks, with billions of dollars for bombs. So, and all of the necessary intelligence, military intelligence involved, the targeting where the drones would go around and assassinate specific Palestinians. Democratic Party was in power then, folks.
I think of the DNC that for Kamala and how they were laughing and they were mocking them when they were outside, just quietly protesting to be on that stage and talk about it. And, they were talking about the children that had died and all those people were just coming by and being mean. I'm like, that is your Democratic Party.
Right.
Those are Republicans. They are not anything but Republicans in sheep's clothing. I don't know what to tell you at this point in time. That's what I think about, because that's the real face of the Republican Party, these progressive Democrats.
Yep. So Hazel, I want to run this instructions for revolution, and I think this is really interesting because this person definitely references the Lenin era, but it's a really cool way to kind of just look at things. So if we could play that, I liked their approach because it seems like a modern approach to Lenin's 1917 revolution. I forgot that, Hazel. I know I jumped around a little bit.
I know, it's fine. We like to jump around.
There you go. Oh, here we go. So Dems are the old Republican Party and Trump's are the new Republican. Yeah, right, Brian. Thanks. Right, they are. And it's really gross. Like Obama used to joke about that. He goes, I'd be a Republican today. He used to kind of brag about that he, from the past, I'd be a Republican. That's the other thing that kind of really threw me about Obama to learn in later years. I was duped by him, but to learn in later years that man has absolutely no principle. He has nothing that he stands for. He couldn't care less about anything.
Mm-mm.
I mean, the guy is an empty soul. He's truly an empty soul. Okay, so let's watch this. It's kind of long, but it's good.
Revolutions actually work. In encouraging us to fight back, I commonly hear, well, there's no leadership. I need a guidebook. No one is telling us what to do. Some of this is valid concern. So let me be precise. There is a playbook, and some of it was written during the success of the Russian Revolution. If you pay attention, a few tens of thousands of organized Bolsheviks helped overthrow a 300-year-old empire of 160 million people. Let me show you how that structure actually worked, what caused people to rise, and where you might fit inside of it. So in February of 1917, the Bolshevik Party had only about 24,000 people. Note that the Russian Empire they were in had around 160 million people. That means the organized revolutionary core was only about 0.015% of the population. And still, 8 months later, they led the overthrow of the Tsarist state. So how does something so small move something that big? Lenin did not believe that every worker had to be a full-time revolutionary. He believed that a small organized core had to exist inside the working class. And in What Is to Be Done, he wrote, "The organization of the revolutionaries must consist first and foremost of people whose profession is that of the revolutionary." So there is that small percentage of the professional revolutionaries who protect the movement from being crushed. The masses that make the force. I know many of you are saying, well, I can't do that. I wouldn't do that. Why would I do that? Perhaps you wouldn't be the person to do that. Lenin is telling you that most people are not this layer and were never meant to be. Now, they operated as a vanguard party. That layer is the vanguard, and it's not everyone. But that core are the people trained to coordinate, communicate, and hold things together when chaos hits. Lenin was very explicit that revolution had layers. In left-wing communism, he wrote, "The dictatorship of the proletariat is a stubborn struggle, bloody and bloodless, violent and peaceful, military and economic, educational and administrative, against the forces and traditions of the old society." That sentence is describing different kinds of fighters inside the same struggle. Some fight, some organize, some teach, some run logistics, some keep communities alive. And this is where your layers come from. You can visualize it like this. I went ahead and made a little diagram. I hope it'll help you visualize where you might fit in. Now there's the organized core, the professional revolutionaries, underground networks, printers, couriers, strike organizers. Then there's the wide sympathetic layer, the union workers, students, people who support the cause but are not, full-time militants. And then there's the mass general population, people who are not necessarily political, but are pulled into action when crisis hits. Lenin explains when that mass suddenly moves, a revolution is impossible without a nationwide crisis. The crisis creates motion. The organized layers give it direction. Now, Rosa Luxemburg analyzed what happens when the crisis breaks open. The revolutionary dictatorship, that is, the victory of the proletariat, cannot be picked from a tree at the desired hour or caught falling from the sky. It can only occur as the end result of the proletariat's gradual, continual march towards power. Then she explains the rapture. Times of revolution rend the cage of legality open like pent-up steam splitting from its kettle. Politically and legally, the rule of the governmental authority, up to that moment, absolutism is destroyed and the struggle of the proletariat can manifest its full might. So she's saying that revolutions begin when legality collapses, when food runs out, when war drags on, when the state loses control. We're seeing some of that now, aren't we? But one or all of those things will spark the masses to flood in, and the organized layers determine what happens next. Individually, as far as feeling like you may not fit in any of this, I hear a lot of, well, I'm sick, I'm scared, I'm poor, I'm not trained. I want to remind and encourage you that Lenin lived with chronic illness and later severe neurological damage. Che Guevara had crippling asthma, yet fought in a jungle. There's even Helen Keller, who was blind and deaf and still organized for socialism. Now, all of these individuals lived in different circumstances and material conditions, but no one was 100% prepared, but they were needed. And Karl Marx made the rule that made this possible, from each according to his abilities, to each according to his needs. Lenin also answered this logic directly. Again, in What Is to Be Done, he said, the workers, the overwhelming majority, are capable of displaying enormous energy and self-sacrifice in strikes and in street battles with the police and troops, and are capable of determining the whole outcome of our movement. History is not waiting for everyone to become brave or educated or ready. It's waiting for a crisis. When that moment comes, people will be pulled into motion, whether they planned for it or not. The only thing that can determine whether chaos becomes liberation is whether enough of us are ready to know which layer we belong in and what we can do, what we have to provide if capable. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be positioned and believe that a better world is possible. How do revolutions actually work? And encourage.
Thanks, Hazel. So I really wanted to show that because I think it's a really kind of nice way as like intro, right? Because I know that, you know, for hundreds of years, they like argue about Marxist theory, right? And, and all that theory crap. But I mean, I think she makes a really nice way of presenting it and just, you know, the situations that came to it. Now we, you know, I'm not going to say there's some Lenin in our midst right now. I don't know, but certainly the situations sound similar. I mean, you hear when things start to collapse, that's when these things can take action. And I thought it was really good the way she said, come on, folks, not everybody have to be like hardcore revolutionaries. Everybody has their place. And she had that graph. I wish I had the name, and Edie always prepares these shows much better than I do. So she would have had a link to that person. I don't have it, but it's worth, trying to find it on Instagram, because I think it's a great, way to, again, just to get familiar with the concepts and not take it, because there's been so much propaganda that people just are completely, oh my God, communist, right? And we got to move away from that. We got to talk about stuff.
Yeah, I saw it as like a get in where you fit in kind of thing. Like you see these little places, okay, be here. And I like the fact that she brought up, people with disabilities, but I'm going to tune into that and say Amani Barbaran, she talked about this like a few years ago. And she said, it was recent, but not so recent. She said, strikes were not built overnight. When they did the Montgomery bus strike, it was set up beforehand with systems in place for people to get to work and different things like that. So there are a lot of things coming out right now about, okay, we need to get ourselves together in the next 6 months to do a bigger strike. And I'm like, these systems, like these mutual aid systems, how to get people prescriptions and things like that, we needed to be putting these in place, because if we're going to do these strikes, the most vulnerable among us are going to need the most care, and we need to have systems in place for everybody to be able to keep their places and things like that. So it does not happen overnight. We really do have to hone in on this, and that I believe that get in where you fit in is exactly what we're talking about and exactly what's needed.
Yeah. And I'm going to make a reference again. I'm going to apologize because I don't have, but I would highly suggest going to Colonial Outcasts. And so Colonial Outcasts is Greg Stoker, who's running in the Green Party for Congress in Texas, along with Mark Wayne. And it's really what Mark Wayne is doing, his work, because he's working with the Black Panthers in Oakland. And they had set up, in the 60s, they had this type of system set up. It was a mutual aid. It was free food. It was free healthcare. It was a way for which the African American community could exist inside and self-sustain. Yes, they had the self-defense, which was the guns standing there, you know, with the photo ops that they did. They love to do. But it is a system, and that is the type of things that we need. And so he's working like even internationally. So look up Mark Wayne, Colonial Outcast. Check out his latest video. But I just want to add a couple other things. Black Panthers were Marxist, folks, if you didn't know. That was their theory, Marxist theory. And again, I ain't no expert on Marxism, but I know, I certainly, you know, it's just weird. I've gone through this path online, and it just seems like, wow, I certainly seem to always like the Marxists. What is it about that, right?
Yeah. And I just want to remind people, like the Black Panthers, they weren't just like, oh, we're gonna be here for us. They reached out with Palestine, and they were all over the place. So it is a come together type of thing. We have to remember that in that revolutionary moment. You can't be for yourself because they're not for any of us. So you have to be for everybody that they're not for. Okay, you got to work somewhere in tandem.
And thank you for saying that, because again, I'm always at fault, because I like, here I am in this show ragging on the right wingers, and yet that's what they did. I'm forgetting the Patriots, right? Somebody could help me in the chat. Maybe Kalia remembers. Maybe Edie remembers. It's the Young Patriot. No, that's a modern term. But anyway, it was Freddie Hampton, who had reached out to a pretty racist organization that was trying to do political work, and United. And in theory, supposedly that's what freaked out the government, and they were like, we got to kill this guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I need to stop bragging on the right wing. We have to work together, folks. So come on, right wingers, you recognize the government is coming and intruding on us and terrorizing us. So yeah, absolutely, we need to. But anyway, that's what Mark Wayne is really focused on. Check him out. I'm forgetting the name of the organization that they've started, but it has to do with, it's a network concept of all of these mutual aid groups that exist around the country. And the woman that's running it is in England. So there's that aspect too. And just to network together so that, right, we are prepared, because it seems like we are in a state of collapse here. Yeah. And so we need to get things organized and
bring the underground back.
Edie, I had that meme, right? Where is the NRA? I had that meme, and then I didn't include it. We were so swabbed, but you know, right, there was a meme about, gee, what happened? Mm-hmm. NRA, aren't you supposed to be here? But again, it's okay, you know, we gotta try to unite. But it's fun to make jokes in the meantime.
Yeah. The NRA is where they want to be, hiding until they need to come out again.
I'm going to show this one. This is Brian. Thank you so much, Brian. Yeah, people like Nick Cruz are better than I on this. I highly recommend Nick Cruz, folks. He is Revolutionary Blackout Network, although I think he's kind of featuring his own page for some reason. It might have to do with the shadow banning. I would highly recommend him, because he is like going through the process, and he just openly admits it. He goes, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm trying to get there. Right. And so he has had, now he's starting to have Jody Brar on every Saturday, I think a morning show. And Jody Brar is the head of the communists in England. And she's just excellent, folks. Again, it's kind of a way to get kind of used to hearing a communist perspective, because it's really good to hear it. Because, you know, we get empire propaganda 24 hours a day, and it's nice to hear it coming from a different side.
Yeah, I have alerts that come up for Green Party, and a lot of it comes from overseas. So I'm just like I love to see, and I like to see people's reactions when they find out that the Green Party is not just in America. And they're like, what in the world? I'm like, yeah, we're not just here. We're international. Yeah. Right. And then they're like, okay, maybe I'll take y'all seriously now. I'm like, cool beans, do that.
Well, I'm hoping, and like I said, I think that that both Anthony Aguilar and Greg Stoker are taking the soft sell approach. So they're not coming in hardcore as we're Green Party. But, you know, the thing is, they are individuals, and they run their campaigns in their own styles, and they're two completely different people. So you're going to see completely different campaign styles, but we're going to be behind them doing the work, right? Doing the organizing side of it to get them on the ballot and into office. And to take it back to Anthony, I just think he's got a really good chance.
Yeah. And I think in North Carolina, what we kind of did there was we have Michael Dublin. He's running in 2. So that's against a Democrat. And then we have Anthony. He's running in 13, which is against a Republican. So you don't get the argument here that, we are against the Democrats. We're running on both sides of the aisle. So you don't get that argument there.
Excellent. And we had Michael Dublin on before. He's fantastic. But that actually makes a lot of sense because, like I said, when I watch Anthony, I mean, his presentation, I could just see a lot of Republicans actually relating to him. I really do. And yet he's completely has all of the right principles. He completely does. And yet, he's not, a blue-haired hippie with, like tattoos, right? So, I mean, I think he's relatable into across, a broad spectrum of people in this country. Let me say it that way.
Yeah, and where we live, there are a lot of veterans. Right. So he's got that veteran connection there. Both of them are veterans, actually, but he's got that veteran connection there. So
as is Greg Stoker.
Yeah.
So yes, the Veterans Caucus. There we go. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is the time for the Green Party. It really is. We joke on this show about it not being a green wave, but a green tsunami, because it's just. And we have heard that there are other folks who may be coming on board too. So no, it's an exciting time. And actually, that's kind of a good segue to maybe our last thing, which is if folks could help Butch Ware get into the debate. And Hazel, that's toward the bottom there, California. Because again, they're trying to block him. They're trying to keep him out of the debates, and we got to push.
Because they know what that will mean.
I mean, they just. And again, Butch is such a fantastic candidate. He is absolutely and I think this is actually just a post, so I could just see it. If you just go to there's a petition if you live in California. Okay, there's a petition to sign, but definitely if you just want to go to his page and find out. Yeah, thank you for to help get him on the. I think it's the 28th, so it's coming up quick. But if you could just go to his Butch Ware for Governor page or his website and see how you can help. And because again, we gotta. It's a battle, folks. We're gonna have a long battle, and as we spoke about the tension that existed on Breaking Points, because I can't speak to who their funding is. I have no idea, but I don't think it's a coincidence that like a crystal ball will sound all lefty and lefty and lefty, and then suddenly, now it's time to talk about a Democrat. He just did that recently. It was really horrific. I can't remember the example, but
what did Butch say? Whoever funds you runs you.
Yeah,
I love that. That's one of my faves.
Yep. No, it is so true. And speaking of who funds you, runs you. So we are volunteers here. It's so weird to talk about us as a political party like the Democratic Party and Republican Party. We're not. And actually, the Democrats in court, they said we're a corporation. We could do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they made that really clear. And so we are maybe like an actual political party. We're a bunch of volunteers who just get together and try to help get candidates into office who will actually do work of the people and not fake. And so we have probably I should point that way. I don't know which way I'm supposed to point, but anyway, there's a little QR code in the top, and that's for the Illinois Green Party to help us out. Thank you. And so yeah, to help us out, and we're going to be petitioning. We've got our long road ahead of us in Illinois. And how is North Carolina with the ballot access? Is it?
We have it. We have it until 2028. And then
you do. Great.
We do. So what happened since we didn't get the 2% of the governor or 2% of the president, we didn't get to maintain ballot access. But because Jill was on over 35 states, we got to get ballot access. And that actually happened with the help of Republicans, 3-2. 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats put us back on the ballot. So that's why we're considered a new party. And that's why we have to do the convention. But,
Okay.
We solely believe if it was the other way around and Democrats had their say, we would definitely not be on the ballot right now. We'd have to sue.
Yeah.
Because we've already had that lawsuit against the Democrats with Matt Ho. Horrible time.
Right. Yeah, folks don't know. Yeah, right. The North Carolina Green Party had to be in court with the Democrats. I mean, the Democrats are the absolute worst people. And that's why I get pissed. I even hear, there are discussions about Green parties. Well, should we endorse this particular Democrat because they're so good? Folks, they try to destroy the Green Party. I mean, they spend millions. They got tons of lawyers in all of the states trying to destroy us. Come on, people, stop it. And
go ahead.
I was just going to say, the one thing I like to repeat is that the point of the Green Party is to have systemic change. So you're not going to get systemic change if you keep talking about some individual. Oh, well, but I really like this person. They say great things. Systemic change, folks. You gotta change the system.
Like with Mom Donnie, he's now saying that the immigrants can have the universal child care, and so everybody's like, oh, he's a good guy, and I'm like, okay, well, you still have to pay attention to the fact that whenever you see somebody with act blue, they are going to act blue at some point in time. That is how I think of it. That is exactly how I see it.
And he does. He actually absolutely acts blue, and he's done it in 2 occasions already. And especially that's a big part of the Democratic Party is when it comes to foreign policy and empire. That's when they're going to stick with, that's where they're going to go for empire. So he, right before Trump went in and grabbed Maduro, he said Maduro is a dictator. He's evil. He's horrible. That was Mom Donnie's saying that. He's the mayor of New York. What is he talking? Why is he bringing up that subject? Because he knows he's going to play the Democratic Party game and be pro-empire. Exactly. And sure enough, Iran becomes the subject. Oh, we have to support those protesters because, we support people everywhere. And AOC did it too. Such bullshit. They know they're not dumb. They know that the CIA and Mossad had those terrorists in there, like shooting everybody. They know that stuff. They're not. I mean, it isn't that hard to find. You just go look around a little online and you just see examples. And so they play the propaganda game for their leaders, folks. Mondami is working for his leaders, which is the Democratic Empire. So.
And as you can see on the ticker down here, this $26, this is something that is the basics of grassroots organizing. We're not asking you for millions of dollars because literally we can't. We don't take corporate and PAC donations and stuff like that, super PAC donations. We are getting donations from regular people. Some of our donations are $5 or $10 or things like that. Most of that comes from just not even a donation. It comes from volunteer times. When we say that we are trying to do something with changing, we really are. And that includes how money plays into politics, because we should have, like Butch said, public servants who actually do the service for the public rather than politicians who just do it for the money.
Right.
Think about how many people came in being thousandaires and now they're millionaires. It's just like, why are you making money off of politics? It shouldn't be that way.
It's horrible. It's horrible how the levels of corruption have just increased and increased and increased. That used to be an issue. I remember they were, it was a negative thing when they found out, oh, wow, they were doing insider trading. Now they just do it. They just openly do it. And it's not even people don't even complain. So yeah, we are, again, I think we're on the brink, folks. And that's why I think that it's important to talk about and start talking about revolutionary ideas, because we have to be prepared. We have to be able to get together. Our climate catastrophe that's probably happening this weekend is another reason why we have to organize. We have to be prepared to help each other, mutual aid. And linking those networks. I'm going to go back to Mark Wayne. We got to link the networks together so we are prepared, because the government's coming after us, folks. They are coming after us in digital ways. So, yeah.
Protect yourselves.
But I want to hear more in the future, Kalia, if you can come back, because like I had said to you on a text earlier, I just feel like North Carolina is going to become the ground zero for the Green Party, because I just think that he's going to do really big things. I think Anthony is going to really be a great asset to the Green Party, and that's what we need. And it's just, we get one person in office in Congress, and that is going to change everything, folks, because then people will see that the possibility is there. People don't want to vote for us because they think we can't win. If we can get one person in, then everything changes. Then they realize it can be done. So this is a super important campaign that we've got. So go North Carolina. I'm sorry our donate button doesn't go to North Carolina. We should have switched it today. We didn't plan ahead. But what is the North Carolina website?
ncgreenparty.org.
Okay, ncgreenparty.org, folks. So please go there and please support North Carolina, because this is their time. I mean, this is going to be it.
We're going from a purple state to a green state. That is
there you go. I love it. That is perfect. I love the color motifs.
Yes.
I think I'll decorate my house.
Green lights.
Yes. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Kalia. This was a great show. And I know it was a dark show too. I know. But that revolution talk is a positive message, right? We have to be hopeful. We have to be ready for action. So, and I appreciate everyone for coming in, and please subscribe if you can, if you haven't subscribed, and, comment. Well, the people have been commenting. We didn't get all the comments in, but I tried to do, I've got to run in the show here without eating. I don't do too well without eating. I'm saying, but, and Edie will be back. And, but thank you again, Kalia. This has been fantastic. Thank you. And everybody, Green Party Tea is on Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
That is correct.
Right
here on YouTube.
Yes. So please check out Green Party Tea on YouTube. And thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Uprising.